And I beheld heaven open, and behold a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. We are at
So you better lace your straps up.
Physical and spiritual.
We're at war. So you better lace your straps up.
Man, the hell up this room.
This is war.
We are at war.
So you better lace your straps up.
Physical and spiritual.
We're at war. So you better lace your straps
Man, the hell
up.
up this room. Big tanks, warships, and planted hands with small chips. North Korea, Russian spies, war is at our doorsteps. History doesn't lie, they beat the slaves with horse whips. So I think it's only right we pay them back with sword tips. End of time, spoken of, it's gonna get a little warm. Daniel 7 started 8, judgment of the little horn that beat us down, held us back, called us by obscenities. Prepare us a table in the presence of our enemies and pay them back. Worse than that, they argue that the earth is flat. Our babies dying, mothers crying, cities full of murdered blacks. Hispanics too, they hate you too. Edomites are not your friend. Harmless smile behind the scenes. They tracking you through iPhone 10 technologies, through policy. We served them since the colonies. This ain't our rest, my mind is right. This place is hell, I'm not at ease. I swore an oath with every breath. I promise to defend the law. Sword is sharpened, armored up. I'm calling for the men of
This is
war.
war.
We are at
So you
war.
better lace your straps up.
Physical and spiritual.
We're at war. So you better lace your straps up.
Man, the hell up this room.
This is war.
We are at war.
So you better lace your straps up.
Physical and spiritual.
We're at war. So you better lace your straps
Man, the
up.
hell up this room. Peace and blessings and shalom, and welcome to another edition of Maccabeestv. This is your brother priest Danyaahla, Alliance of Israel, Maccabees Alliance Council. And first of all, I want to say thanks for joining us as always. If you're in the house, as usual, I'd ask you to hit the like button and show your brother some love. The like button, the algorithm will let people know that we're live. We'll let people know that we have a video up, and more people can come and join in to this conversation. Now, I want to say this to brothers and sisters, right? We know right now we are in the midst of a national emergency as so declared by Donald Trump. But because we are spiritually and mentally prepared for these things, because we know what the scriptures say that certain things would come, we're not panicking. We do believe in preparation as we've gone over the last couple of live streams, but we're not panicking. And also want to take a moment to say thank you to everybody that has watched those last couple of shows and given your feedback. And hopefully you found the information that we were disseminating to you, brothers and sisters, to be useful. Now, what I don't want to do is I don't want to turn this channel into 24-hour coronavirus coverage, because you have even though it's fake news, but you have the news stations for that, right? I only want to bring you, brothers and sisters, information that's relevant. And a lot of those news stories that I'm going to do a lot of them on the backup channel, which is Maccabeestv News. That will be in the video description, as well as I'm going to pin it as a top comment in the comment section, so that you can go over there and subscribe to that channel if you want to see the news stories. I'm not going to do a lot of them here all the time, only the ones that's really, really relevant. I'm not going to make this into a 24-hour coronavirus channel where we have so many other things that we need to talk about, right? We have to build ourselves up spiritually. We need to continue to get into these scriptures, this history, et cetera, all right? There's many battles on many fronts that we as Israelites have to fight. We have many enemies, you know what I'm saying? Some in the open and some behind closed doors. Nevertheless, Before I go back to our regularly scheduled program, I also have some interviews coming up soon. Before I go back to our regularly scheduled program, I do want to share this with you, brothers and sisters, because this actually came out today. Now, this was an article that was in the New York Post. And so I went looking now. The mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio, what he did was he went on the news today. He went on television and gave an interview. And the New York Post kind of summarized the interview into an article. So I went looking for the interview because I actually wanted to see him saying these things that the article said he said. And I found the interview. And Mayor de Blasio said some very, very interesting things, some of which I've been telling you about. But I want you to hear it from his mouth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let's listen into what Mayor de Blasio had to say in this interview right here. For you brothers and sisters that are watching, the name of the video, this is on YouTube, is called Bill de Blasio, Coronavirus is Clearly Widespread in New York City. Now, if you want to come and watch this entire video on your own, you can. I'm starting from minute 5:18, from the 5-minute and 18-second mark. I want you to pay attention to what he is saying. Let's pay attention to what he is saying.
All over the country, particularly in the most affected areas, we need the federal government to take over the supply chain right now.
Okay, I think that might have went over some of your head, so we're going to go back and we're going to listen to that again. He said that he needs the federal government to take over the supply chain right now. He wants the government to take over the supply chain right now. That's why we tell y'all, when you think there's a difference between voting for a Republican or a Democrat, it's two heads on the same coin. They're all working for the same people. You understand? The powers that be control both sides of the aisle. All right? Just so you know. Let's go back and let's listen to that again. Let's come back. Here we go. Listen.
Behind. We need massive testing capacity all over the country, particularly in the most affected areas. We need the federal government to take over the supply chain right now. Right now, we have to make sure that the places in this country that need more ventilators, that need surgical masks, that need hand sanitizer, that is a federalized dynamic.
So they want to federalize or have the government control ventilators, hand sanitizer, and those masks that people wear. They want the government to control that. So if you want to get that, you got to go through the government to get it. That's what they want. But listen.
Where those factories that produce those goods are put on 24/7 shifts, and those goods are distributed where they're needed most, as we would in wartime. That is where we are right now. And by the way, Brianna, right behind that is the question of food and basic supplies.
Okay. And right behind federalizing masks, hand sanitizer, and ventilators, right behind that, he's also proposing that they federalize and control food. Did y'all hear that? Let's play it again. Let's play it again.
24/7 shifts, and those goods are distributed where they're needed most, as we would in wartime. That is where we are right now. And by the way, Brianna, right behind that is the question of food and basic supplies. If the federal government doesn't realize this is the equivalent of a war already, there is no way the states and localities can make all the adjustments we need to.
So he suggested that the feds take over food and basic supplies and treat this situation with the coronavirus as if we were at war. Now, that's a very, very broad. What does that mean? That entails a lot of things. That's not an innocuous statement that you can just gloss over. He wants the government to treat this coronavirus and its spread as though there is a war going on. And as I have mentioned to you before, when Bill Clinton was president in 1994, he enacted certain laws. They called, for lack of a better word, the umbrella term is called anti-hoarding laws, where the government can control basic goods, food, water, medical supplies, ventilators, masks, hand sanitizer, everything they control, gasoline, everything they control.
And he's putting it out there that he wants the government to take that over. And the reason why he's making that suggestion is because he knows these laws are already on the books. They're just not being enforced, but they're already on the books.
Agree with Governor DeWine. I'll reach across the aisle. We are all on our own in so many ways, and I think mayors and governors are doing their best to quickly improvise, mobilize our cities, cancel those elective surgeries, all sorts of things we can do. But we cannot control the supply chain. We cannot control the foundation of where our medical supplies and equipment come from. The only hope is that the federal government actually wakes up and realizes we're in a war.
We are in a war. We are in a war. And he wants to federalize hand sanitizer, masks, ventilators, but ultimately food and basic supplies. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Don't tell us that we're out here fear-mongering or this or that. No, we're just telling you what's being discussed. We're just telling you what's on the table. In this very same interview, if you come and watch it for yourself, he also said New York City, most likely, at best, is going to be on lockdown for 6 months. Oh, I know y'all been hearing on the news that they've been saying 2 weeks, but if you come watch this interview for yourself, I'm not going to play the whole thing. He said 6 months at least. Interesting. All right, let's move on to one other thing that I wanted to share with you, brothers and sisters, and then we're going to call it a day. This came out from Yahoo Finance. I saw this article about 2 days ago on my timeline, and it lines right up with what I was saying. Let's look at the title. It says coronavirus to impact low-wage Black workers the most. Let that sink in. Let it sink in. Coronavirus to impact low-wage Black workers the most. You see all these different places that are shutting down. A lot of the people that work in all these places and all these industries that are shutting down, or like the sporting industry, et cetera, as far as these giant arenas and these trade shows and these different things. It's a lot of Jakes, a lot of our people that work those blue collar jobs in those places, man. And it's going to affect them. It's going to affect them. If the NBA season and the playoffs don't happen, it's going to affect a lot of our people. If the Major League Baseball doesn't have a season this year, it's going to affect a lot of our people. All right. We see how many different shows and things are canceled. You have moratoriums all over the country where you can't, like, for instance, in New York City, speaking about that, they're not allowing a gathering of more than 500 people. That's not right now. That's outlawed. You cannot have a gathering in a public place of more than 500 people. So you can't, you usually have the auto show that's usually there in New York. That was canceled. Okay. You have a whole bunch of different things that was canceled. And the people that work there in the Jacob Javits Center, that work as security guards and ticket collectors and this, that, and the third, as I mentioned to you, parking attendants, you name it, those are our people. And they're suffering. And the time is going to come where they can't pay their rent. You see what I'm saying? It's a whole trickle down effect. But see, when we were saying it, it was just like, oh, brothers, have faith in the Most High. We do have faith in the Most High. The Most High is in control of all of this. All we're doing is we're just bringing these things to the forefront. That's why we've been doing this series about preparation so that you don't have to panic. Ultimately, the Most High is in charge, but you still should prepare so that you don't have to panic. So here it is in black and white. Coronavirus to impact low-wage Black workers the most. We've been saying this. We've been saying this. Not many have been saying it, but I know I've been saying it. Let's read what it says right here. Low-income and low-wage earners will likely bear the brunt of the economic impact of coronavirus. So no, we're not worried. Never, not one time have you guys heard me say, or anybody on this channel say, we're worried about the virus itself. We're always talking about the peripheral effects of what's happening around this virus. All these laws that are being enacted. You understand what I'm saying? How people are financially going to be affected by it. This is what we've been talking about, as well as building up your immune system and other things. So let's read. Low income and low wage earners will likely bear the brunt of the economic impact of coronavirus, experts warn. As coronavirus continues to slam industries like travel, a lot of our people work there, especially, you know how many Jakes of our people work on them cruise ships? You know those cruise ships? A lot of our people work on the cruise ships. Do y'all know the whole cruise ship industry is shut down for the next month, at least? At least. Leisure and hospitality. A lot of our people work in the hospitality industry, whether it be in hotels, on the cruise ships, at resorts, et cetera, et cetera. That's our people. Disney World, Disneyland in California, amusement parks, you name it. That's our people working there, doing these blue-collar jobs. All these things are shut down now. Workers in these industries also have the lowest amount of access to sick leave. That's a fact. Forcing many employees to choose between their health and their paycheck. That is a fact. Only a third of the workforce in the country is able to work from home. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, nationwide, more than 32 million workers don't have access to paid sick leave, according to BLS. 92% of higher wage earners receive paid sick time compared to their low-income counterparts. Only 31% of workers with salaries in the bottom 10% have this benefit. Paid sick leave also impacts some sectors more than others. According to the Economic Policy Institute, only 48% of workers in the leisure and hospitality industry have access to paid sick leave. Elise Gould, senior economist at EPI, said that due to the amount of time these workers spend interfacing with the public, they are particularly at risk for not just getting sick, but for spreading the illness, as they are less likely to stay home if they are experiencing symptoms. Suffering the most. Economically, Elise says, these workers are the most likely to suffer the most, particularly as many face work hour reductions. It is a little bit of a snowball effect for that population, she said. They are more likely to be living paycheck to paycheck and will have a harder time because they have limited resources. As fewer people go to restaurants, that's going to affect our people, travel, and spend money at hotels, workers in those industries suffer from reduced business and dollars that can translate into tips. That's our people. This is highlighting the vast inequality in this country, Gould said, and some people are going to get hurt so much more than others. That hurt could be long lasting. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen over the course of this virus. Among the working poor, Black workers will be harmed the most. Let me highlight that. Have we not been saying that? Have I not been saying that? The minute that I saw the NBA cancel the season and the NHL cancel the season and all those different trade shows and different things being canceled, I was saying that before this article came out, because I know that it's our people. Our people are the engines that make those things run. I know that. And now Yahoo is admitting that's exactly what's going to happen. We're going to be affected the most as a people, us. It's not about the virus. You got to look beyond that. That's why we're saying, who knows how long this thing is going to last for? Who knows how far they're going to push it? That's why we've been telling you, try to prepare to a degree. In case you get laid off, in case wherever you work, they tell you that you can't come into work for a certain amount of time. Prepare. That's what we've been saying. According to BLS, Black and Hispanic workers are more than twice as likely to earn poverty level wages compared with their counterparts. Y'all don't see that? See that? Roughly 8% of Black and Hispanic workers earn wages below poverty level, compared to just 4% of white workers. Women of color struggle in particular. Did I not say that? I said the people that's going to suffer the most with this whole coronavirus thing is going to be Black women. I said that, and I read Isaiah 32. That's Bible prophecy. I said that. Okay, let's read that again. Where are we at? Roughly 8% of Black and Hispanic workers earn wages below poverty level compared with just 4% of white workers. Women of color struggle in particular. 10% of Black women and 9% of Hispanic women are classified as the working poor compared with 3.5% of white men. There's a lot of occupational segregation in this country, said Gould. So when we think of these low-wage workers, they're more likely to be women, Black and Hispanic workers. This could hit some communities more than others. And it is unclear how badly hit these vulnerable populations will be as COVID-19 continues to batter the American economy. We don't know what will happen when people can't pay their rent or their mortgage, she continued. Will we see the economic devastation spread? Will the government step up? On Capitol Hill, both Democrats and White House proposed economic relief measures. President Trump unveiled a proposal for payroll tax cuts through the election and into the end of the year, providing relief for many working Americans. Wednesday night, Democrats released the Family First Corona Response Act, a bill that will provide food assistance, paid sick leave, and extra funds for unemployment insurance benefits. This bill is critical. This bill is a critical down payment on ensuring that families and communities in the direct path of this crisis do not have to choose between following the advice of public health experts and risking their livelihoods, said Fatima Gross Graves, president and CEO of the National Women's Law Center. All right. Let's see. All right. This article is kind of long, but you brothers and sisters see the name of the article. The name of the article is called Coronavirus to Impact Low-Wage Black Workers the Most. It's exactly as we've been saying. So I really feel like in closing, I just want to say, as I mentioned, like I'm not going to turn this channel into just talking about this every day, because now I think that you have to be living under a rock not to know what's going on. At this point, it's a choice whether you're going to put your head in the sand like most of our people do and act like ain't nothing going on, or you're going to look and face this thing head on and make the right decisions for you and your family. Ultimately, this is all in the hands of the Most High. Ultimately, we have to put our faith and our trust in the Most High, because there's no amount of preparation that any of us could do to really prepare for what's really going to come. The Bible says there's going to be really, 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 really hard times coming. The Bible says this is the time of Jacob's troubles. Right? So ultimately, you're not going to be able to store enough food or water or whatever to save you from anything. But this may not be the be-all, end-all, the corona. There may be something else down the road. So if this is something that's short-lived and maybe 2 or 3 months from now we won't hear about it no more, et cetera, at least you'll be prepared in case there comes a time where you have to be in your house, you may be laid off your job for a little while, et cetera. Just like when you had the government shutdown. I'm going to end it with this, right? Remember we had the government shutdown in 2000. I believe the government shutdown was in 2018. If I'm not mistaken, there was a government shutdown. And who were the main ones that was affected by the government shutdown? Guess who? Guess who? Our people. We're always the most affected with all these things. Always. How many more warning signs does the Most High have to send us? You know? So, hey, brothers and sisters, stay prayed up, man. Continue to pray to the Most High. You know, fast. Stay in tune. Pay attention to the news, but don't believe everything you hear. And continue to keep these commandments to the best of your ability. And don't fear, brothers and sisters. We must go through these things. The Bible said through much tribulation, we're going to enter into the kingdom of heaven. In order for us to get our kingdom, we're going to have to go through some things. You cannot expect for the nations to willingly just give up power. Brothers and sisters, the Bible says the nations are going to try to fight Christ. Christ is going to come back in all his glory, all his majesty, and all his power, and the nations in their ignorance are going to try to fight Christ. So you know they have no problems fighting you. Understand that. But we have to go through this to get the kingdom. The Most High said gold is tried through fire, through the furnace of affliction. You understand? And we're going to have to go through that, right? And that hour of temptation is going to come. And you got to stand for the Most High at all costs, all right? So we're going to get back to our regularly scheduled program. If I have anything else this week to talk about the coronavirus, I'm going to do it on the backup channel, Maccabeestv News. As I said, the link will be in the description for this video, and the link will also be pinned to the top of the comment section if y'all want more updates, because I'm sure more and more is going to come out with this week. I'll do it on the backup channel unless it's something major, seismic, cataclysmic, then I'll come back and do something on this channel. With that being said, it's your brother, Priest Danyaahla, Lions of Israel, Maccabees Lions Council. If you're in my house and you did not hit like, then you off. Hit the like button, show your brother some love, subscribe to Maccabeestv, subscribe to Maccabeestv News, and I'll see y'all on the next show. I got some guests coming real soon. I've been talking with some people. I got some guests coming on, a whole bunch of great things going on in 2020, man. We're going to continue to praise the Most High, man. We're going to get that kingdom. We're going to get that kingdom. Shalom.